Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to all organizers for this invitation, for providing us the opportunity to share insights of Brazilian shipbuilding offshore industry. In particular, our partnership Colmeia and Colmeia Brazil to invite us to be here. There are much that Brazil can learn from Korea and vice versa. Initiatives like this are essential for our success in both nations. In the great joy to enthusiasm I stand before you today to co-marine event, and I'm deeply honored to represent Sinaval as a vice president and address all for you. Brazil has always played a prominent role in shipbuilding and offshore industry, and it's truly exciting to see our country reclaim the global prominence in this sector. Sorry about my English, everyone, but I send my translator for my presentation for the translation. Lately, I have received invitation for Germany, Japan, and Korea to discuss opportunities in the Brazilian shipbuilding sector. This is a testament to our potential and our growing global influence. Let's explore together how Brazil is once again in the forefront of the shipbuilding offshore industry. I look forward to sharing our optimistic vision for the futures of this sector in our country. Thank you for being here. During my presentation, I will cover some follow points. First, I will provide a brief overview about Sinaval and its significance in the Brazil. Next, I will discover the capabilities of the Brazilian shipbuilding industry in the recent deliveries. Following that, I will delve into the order book and the opportunities in the Brazilian market. Lastly, I will present alternatives for decarbonization of the Brazilian maritime sector. And finally, I will conclude by summarizing the key points present in few slides. About Sinaval. Sinaval is a cornerstone in the Brazilian shipbuilding and offshore construction landscape. We proudly represent the country's leading shipyard, strategically positioned along our vast coastline, even inland regions like Manaus. Our mission is to advocate and promote the interests of the Brazilian shipbuilding offshore industry. We work tirelessly to drive growth and excellence with our industry, and our influence extend beyond the corporate realm. We are actively engaged to economic and governmental forum, collaborating to shape policies and regulation for the forced sustainable industry development. With active participation of shipyards across the various regions of the country, Sinaval plays a pivotal role shaping the futures of shipbuilding and offshore construction industry in Brazil. You are dedicated to create an environment conducive to the growth and innovation, making Brazil even more competitive in the global sector. In this slide, you can see all the regions that you have shipyard in Brazil, since the south up to the north of the Brazil. Now, the segmentation about the Brazilian shipyard. The versatility and expertise of the Brazilian shipyard are evident in their ability to serve a wide range of market segments. We take pride in contributing to develop 13 different kinds of vessels, which is specific demands. Let's take a look at this segment. We have segmentation of offshore, like a construction of integration of models and roof of FPSOs, offshore support vessels, tankers and product carriers, container ship, bulk carriers, whatever, are 13 segments that you can provide our vessels, our services. And the Brazilian shipbuilding capabilities. The shipbuilding offshore industry in Brazil is truly diverse and spread across the country. Let's take a look at the map to better understand the geographical distribution of Brazilian shipyard and then cluster. So you normally see pair Brazilian shipyard in cluster. So you have four principal main cluster in Brazil. The first one is in south of Brazil. It's the Rio Grande cluster. In the state of Rio Grande do Sul, you'll find a cluster specialized in construction and integration of FPSOs, floating production and storage and offloading. And modules, additionally, there in these regions, there is a dry dock with capacity to build 2 FPSOs together. Next, you have Itajaí. Itajaí is a Santa Catarina state. There is a concentration of shipyard dedicated of the construction of specialized offshore support vessels. There are 5 shipyards focusing this segment in this area. Then you have Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro is hosts the largest cluster in terms of quantity of shipyard in Brazil. The region is capable to building a variety of vessels types from models to Petrobras, to FPSOs, semi-submersive, platform, drill ships. It will highlight Barsfeld Shipyard, which has a robust portfolio for Petrobras, model construction, and the history of the building of FPSOs. Then you have Pernambuco. Pernambuco is the region in the state of Pernambuco. We find shipyards specialized in the construction of large vessels. Notable, Atlântico Sul is the largest shipyard in the South America. Bahia and Espírito Santo, also there are important shipyards. And also we have in North Brazil some shipyards focusing river, tugboats, barge, and some kinds of products. And Brazilian shipyard. Sinaval has brought together the leading Brazilian shipyard, considering only those operate in the segment of ship, platform, and OSVs, and transformed them into the Estaleiro Brasil. Our intention was showcase installed capacity of our shipbuilding offshore industry. As such, you have a following figure to illustrate the capacity of the Estaleiro Brasil, with a total area of 8,472 square meters, provide ample and modern space to our vessels construction and repair. We also have our shipyard capacity to process up 700,000 tons of steel per year, and other numbers that you can see on the square. Since the government announced the commitment to prioritize meeting the demands of the oil and gas sector in Brazil, this dedication has attracted significant investment, resulting over the 38 shipyard projects for production, expansion, and modernization of the shipyard in our country. Total investment of the shipyard, sorry. These efforts have led a total investment of more than $6 billion. Substantial portion of this resource was allocated in the construction of new shipyards equipped with the state-of-the-art technology and world-class infrastructures. These investments are not only modernizing and expanding our shipyard, but have also made Brazil capable of meeting the demands of primarily for Petrobras and Transpetro demand. The message that I want to cover in that not our industry is ready to address the anticipated demand that in the coming years. You are prepared to face future challenges and continue to deliver high-quality solutions to the domestic and foreign market. The challenges of the new resurgence will be significant, but through the partnership and hard work, we are confident that we will overcome them. Now I'll show some pictures about Brazilian shipyard. For example, this is a Rio Grande shipyard located in the south of Brazil. No, sorry, it's Atlântico Sul. I made a mistake, sorry. The Atlântico Sul is the biggest shipyard in South America. Rio Grande, sorry. Rio Grande. So it's the Rio Grande that have capacity to build 2 FPSOs together in the south of Brazil, very specialized in FPSO project. Here there is now is Atlantic Sul shipyard. It's the biggest shipyard in South America. It's located in Pernambuco. This picture is not so recently, but the shipyard was also in construction, but you can see the size of the shipyard. Now you can see the Jurong shipyard, from Jurong holding in Brazil, located in Espírito Santo state. And as I mentioned before, this is a Brasfel shipyard located in Rio de Janeiro with a lot of FPSOs, semi-submersibles, a lot of the works to do there. All right. Now that I covered some histories of shipbuilding Brazil and the capabilities of the Brazilian shipyard and the infrastructure they have, I will now discuss the deliveries our industry has made in the recent years. So, the next few slides, I will show you some of them. Some of the deliveries from the Brazilian in the past 10 years. But it's important to remember that Brazil has gone through a challenging period in the last 6 years, without almost no demand in Brazilian shipbuilding industry. So, the last 6 years was terrible for us. No demand, no building in Brazil. In this slide, you can see that our industry has delivered 4 PLSVs, 377 offshore support vessels, and more than 250 at port tugboats. Some deliveries about the big vessels, oil tankers, is 15 oil tankers, 6 gas tankers, 5 bulk ships, mainly for Transpetro that they represent here in our area. Now, I said before, the port and push boats and barges, it's a market that's growing a lot in the last year because the agricultural segment in Brazil, it's the segment that is growing a lot in Brazil, and the demand is related for the sector. So we will never pass a worst period in this segment. So regarding the segment offshore, you can see the deliveries by Brazilian shipyards platform models for Petrobras in recent years. The slides show there have been peaks and valleys, which are not ideal for our industry. Wherever you can observe the recent growth in the deliveries due to the resurgence of the oil gas sector in Brazil. The forecast I will show later indicates strong demand for the construction of FPSO modules in coming years. Those are Petrobras models constructed by Brazilian shipyard in the past years. So now the point of the presentation, opportunities in Brazilian shipbuilding sectors. Well, now we have discussed about the capacity of the Brazilian industry and delivery history. I will show some highlights of the future's outlook. I'll talk about has been announced by. I'll talk about what has been announced by government, companies, and expectation for new orders in the domestic market. This slide features 2 pieces of news. One of Petrobras President João Prats, who announced investment in the Growth Acceleration Program, PAC, and predicts public and private investment over the 300 billion Brazil reais in the oil gas sector in Brazil in the coming years. The other news is related to Transpetro, which is here, and announced a contracting of 25 vessels to be entirely constructed in Brazilian shipyard. I hope so. To summarize, To summarize the opportunities announced in the shipbuilding and offshore construction sector in Brazil, we have 20 new FPSOs that will be operated by 2028. These FPSO are already contracted or in contracting phase. Depending on the oil field and the EU production, there are local content requirements range from 25% to 40%. Petrobras has also announced the return of PROREFAM. PROREFAM is a program which is a fleet renewal program of offshore logistics support. In this new phase of the program, Petrobras has announced the hiring 28 more offshore support vessels to build in Brazil. Additionally, there is a strong market in Brazil related to the commissioning of platforms. Petrobras has several platforms that need to be decommissioned in the coming years. Whether they are FPSOs, semi-submersibles, these involve investments around $9 billion, and much of this commissioned work in the carry out in the Brazilian shipyard. They are prepared to operate in accordance with the best global standards in environment and operational safety. In addition, there is another order of 25 vessels from Transpetro, the largest logistic operator in South America and subsidiary of Petrobras. These vessels will be used to transport oil produced and processed by Petrobras along the Brazilian coast. These vessels are also part of a growth acceleration program, PAC, and are included in the Transpetro investment plan for the coming years. They are expected to build in Brazilian shipyard with the design incorporating technology that meet IMO's carbon intensity reduction targets for 2030. Furthermore, the Brazilian Navy's place is a significant role in driving the shipbuilding industry in Brazil. Currently, we have 4 frigates being constructed in Brazilian shipyard, and the new tenders are planned for an additional 4 frigates and 11 patrol vessels. All these vessels will be built in Brazil with a high level of local content. Now, I will discuss a little bit more about the decarbonization in Brazilian maritime sector. It's important not that I'm not expert in this subject, but I believe it's essential to highlight some relevant points. Additionally, it's also remember that Brazilian industry has a clean energy matrix, being 6 times cleaner than Chinese and 5 times cleaner than Korean industry. In the upcoming slides, I will provide information on what the Brazilian market has been analyzing in terms of decarbonization. So, among the alternatives, use of maritime biofuels is the primary option for Brazil. Brazil holds a prominent position in terms of biotechnology and bioenergy, with competitive biofuel industry in the country that can contribute to the decarbonization of the sector as a supply of biofuels. Biofuels can ensure commercially and scalable volume due to the technological maturity and well-developed production chain, the availability of the logistical infrastructures, and adaptation of existing vessels propulsion technology, all which ends drop-in solutions. In the following slides, I will provide some highlights regarding the biofuels being considered in the Brazilian market. This includes FAM, AVO, fit diesels, ethanol, LNG, and biomethane. About the FAM, biodiesel FAM. Talking about biofuels FAM, in the end of 2022, the first refuel with renewable content in Brazil has carried out on the vessel Darcy Ribeiro, owned by Transpetro in Rio Grande Terminal, Rio Grande do Sul. The refuel considered 90% of mineral origin and 10% of biodiesel. In the next year, estimate that production will double and capacity will increase by 30% in scenario with 15 blends. AVO. This large-scale production of AVO in Brazil is under development by companies like Brazilian Biofuels, BBF, on the largest palm oil production in the country. The biorefinery in the Manaus Free Trade Zone with production capacity of 500,000 cubic meters per year is scheduled for 2025. About ethanol. Ethanol is currently the most consumed and transported biofuel in the United States and Brazil, and United States and Brazil being the largest producer in the world. The company Raízen, its joint venture between Cosan and Shell, is developing advanced biofuels for sustainable aviation fuel and biofuel for ships. The operation of 20 cellulosic ethanol plants and 39 biogas production models at ethanol plants is planned by 2030. However, the challenge has formed a strategic partnership for the development of engine technology for the ethanol-powered ship. LNG. Brazil domestic natural gas production may increase by 50 millimeters cubic a day by the end of the decade if the planned investments in the production infrastructures of Sergipe-Alagoas Basin and the pre-salt reserves in the Campos and Santos basins. 3 liquefied natural gas regasification terminals are expected to start operation in 2023, increasing the national import capacity over the 120 millimeters cubic per day. However, the increase in the gas supply is primarily anchored in the industrial and the terminal power demand of the country, with limited discussions regarding the liquefaction and gas supply for maritime transport. Biomethane considered an advanced biofuel when produced from the urban solid waste, agro-industrial and forestry residues, and aquatic organisms, has high energy density, abundant biomass available in some regions, and the potential to reduce greenhouse emissions by 65% to 100% depending on the raw materials used in the production process, favoring the use of maritime fuel. However, biomethane has a high production cost compared to the fossil equivalents. Conclusions, finally. Certainly, please go ahead and provide some content you'd like to include for 2 slides, and I'll help draft them. So, it's important to say the resurgence, the shipbuilding in Brazil has been stimulating investment for large international groups that believe in the industrial sector and seek to form partnership with local companies to meet out the global supply requirements. The main objectives are develop strategic in-house capacity of local ships and offshore platform construction and repair, establish a competitive sector based in international benchmarks, build a network of local suppliers can remain competitive in ongoing contracts, develop low-carbon technology. About the biofuels, for the decarbonization maritime sectors, the penetration of alternative fuels, including biofuels, hydrogen, ammonia, and electricity, you need to advance. Technological, supply, pricing, including carbon tax, financing, and logistical challenges must be addressed. Public policies will also be essentials. So this is my highlight. Thank you. As I drawing this presentation to close, I sincerely hope that I have successfully convert our message. Brazil is a crucial conjuncture on the cusp of revival in the shipbuilding industry. You are open to collaboration, involve exchange of technology and know-how, and we welcome partnership for the forced mutual growth. While I win manufacturers as much as possible in Brazil. International cooperation in the countries that excel the shipbuilding sector will be instrumental in our collective success. If any of you are interested to delve in further into Brazilian opportunities, that Brazil has to offer, please don't hesitate to reach out. You're more than welcome to contact me directly via my email. I'm closing. Let us embrace the pivotal moment with enthusiasm and determination. The future of shipbuilding and offshore constructions in Brazil hold a vast potential, and together we can make it reality. Thank you. I look forward to future collaboration and conversation. Thank you.